Hello, lovely ladies. So I wanted to come on and just record a video for you guys. I just got done getting a facial and I feel lovely right now. I'm about to go and grab some coffee at one of the coffee shops around here and just really enjoy my day. So I wanted to come on and talk to you guys today about the one thing that happy rich women or happy rich wives know, right? So some of you, of course, have an aspiration to be a wife. You also are working on your love life right now. And then there are others of you who are like, no, I am just focused right now on becoming a happy, rich, wealthy woman. And I wanted to talk to you guys about this concept of no matter where you are on your journey, whether you're kind of just getting yourself back together for you again in life, or if you are a wife and you want to maintain remaining a happy woman while also being in a relationship with your significant other or your spouse, what is one thing that we know no matter what, if you're going to maintain that type of disposition? And the one thing that we know is, just like your house, you know how you're responsible for keeping your home clean, like doing whatever it takes in order to keep your physical environment clean, sweeping, mopping, washing dishes, cleaning cabinets, whatever else either you or someone on your staff or someone that you've hired has to do that work. A happy and rich woman knows that you also have to do the same work for cleaning up your soul, right? That just like maintaining your physical environment on a daily basis or a weekly basis. Some of you deep clean weekly. I know for me, I have someone that comes into my home and she deep cleans regularly. She does it at least once a month. And I may maintain it in between that. It just depends on how busy I am. But just like you're maintaining your physical environment, if you're going to be a happy and wealthy woman, if you're going to be a happy and a rich woman, a woman who is energetically like where she needs to be at any moment in time in her life, then you have to also continue to clean up your soul. And cleaning up your soul, I know you guys may hear me talk about inner work or doing the work on the inside to heal. That is what it means to clean up your soul. So, for instance, think about if with your house or your car or whatever you maintain physically, if you're having to keep that environment up daily, weekly, monthly, how much more do you need to be doing that for the invisible parts of you, right? How much more do you need to be cleaning up your feelings, right? How much more do you need to be going back into your past, or even throughout your day, if you had something crazy, how much more do you need to be entering into those spaces and cleaning out your soul from all of the junk that gets thrown on you on a daily and weekly and monthly basis? How many of you have sat down and said, I will invest an hour a day into cleaning up the invisible parts of me, 30 minutes a day or whatever it is that you have, where you sit down and you intentionally are doing that work to make sure that your soul is always basically being recentered and reset to your original design. And I talk about this with my one-on-one clients, and I talk about this a little bit in some of my past videos here and in my courses, that your original design is what you're trying to reset back to, right? The original part of you, whatever it is that makes you, wake up in the morning and jump for joy, those things that you loved as a child, what you loved engaging in as a child, what you have found that you love engaging in as you're an adult, because exploration of your life continues to happen all the time, so long as you are addressing your limiting beliefs and addressing those things that the world may tell you, oh, you can't show up in the world like this, or this isn't appropriate for that. You're consistently making sure that you're paying attention to those things that make you come alive and engaging in them regularly. All of that stuff is a part of your invisible work. That's a part of you cleaning up your soul. And as a woman who identifies as a happy and rich woman, one of my major gifts in life, like just naturally, like my zone of genius is in life is I know how to be happy, right? So no matter what kind of has gone on in my life, you guys know my story. Go back and watch some of my videos if you are not as familiar with my story. But out of all of the different things that have happened in my life, I have always found a way to like reset back to my original happiness and joy. And I kind of feel like at this point it's like a superpower, because there are so many people who they think that you have to have like all of this stuff in order to be a happy woman, in order to be a happy person. But the reality of it is so much of your joy and so much of your own personal gladness is about going within and discovering who you are and then bringing that out, right? So like right now, of course, it's a beautiful day outside. I'm about to go get a cup of coffee. You guys, I think you guys hear me talk about my little cup of coffee all the time, but that is just a place of deep joy for me, right? To sit with my coffee. Sometimes I do my inner work with my coffee. Sometimes I'll get on the phone with a great girlfriend, or I'll call my mom or whoever else. I have a great conversation with the women that I love, and that is something that fills my soul up, right? And of course the feeling of your soul is going to be whether or not the conversation is edifying to you. Everybody you talk to, their souls are not healthy, right? Their souls just are not healthy. They're carrying a lot of pain, a lot of baggage, a lot of problems. And so you may not find that conversation with a person like that to be as refreshing. But when you have people in your life that you can sit and you're like-minded, you guys have like a more kindred spirit, those are the types of things that refresh you. And so if you are a woman and you're like, wow, you know, I identify with wanting to be a happy, rich, wealthy, happy woman or wife, right? I use happiness. Some of you may use joy if you come from a more religious background and you have like a thing with the word happiness. I don't know. I found that a lot of people really struggle with being happy. I just don't get it personally. Like, I hear you, but I'm almost like, after you get to a certain point in life, like, what's the point of the rest of it if you can't find out how to be happy or fulfilled? Like, what's the point of the money if you're gonna go on the trip and be miserable? Or what's the point of the dream house if you go and nobody's there, and or people are there and you don't like none of them? You know, what's the point of the fancy car if you're driving around all day by yourself and you don't know how to connect with others or with yourself, or you can't enjoy those things? Like, what really is the point? So when I communicate about cleaning your soul up and resetting yourself back to your the original blueprint that God had in mind when he made you, because he makes each of us as his creation with something in mind, right? Which is one of the reasons you guys will always hear me talk about God, or really keep God at the forefront of a part of this journey whenever you are cleaning up your soul, and or whenever you are trying to figure out like what's the next step for you. For my work, we include God because, you know, he's the person that created everything. He's the person that created us as the crown of creation, and he created us to be elevated. He created us to be in a very high position. God had high hopes when he made us, right? He had high hopes when he made us. He had high desires when he made us. He had high plans when he made us. And when you allow the various things on this earth to let you choose another path, and you don't heal, you don't increase your resilience, then, you know, you're missing out on so much life that I think God would have really wanted so many of us to experience. And so whenever you come into my containers, whenever you come, and when I say that, like the work that I do when we heal, all of the exercises that I give you, like one of the main exercises that I do in terms of cleaning out my soul right now is absolutely centered around journaling. And one of the major questions that I'm asking right now is, if I could show up in the world and not care about anybody else's expectations of me, right? How would I show up? What would it look like if I showed up in the world and I wasn't worried about anyone else's expectations of me? And this question, like, is one of the deeper questions that I'm journaling right now, because at the end of the day, I think a lot of people show up in the world based off of, number one, what others want from you, but also number two, how others have harmed you, right? And there's this weird, like, I don't know, it's almost like people have internalized how they've been treated in their past, right? Like, if you know you've been wounded by your father, I talked about the mother wound in my last video. I saw the mother wound forming with the interaction with the little girl and her mom in Starbucks. What happens is you're not showing up in the world in the way that God created you to show up in the world, right? Which is this fun, loving, light, passionate, vigorous, full of life being, because God is full of life. You can look at the trees around me or behind me. Look how vibrant they are. Look at how vibrant the sun is, how vibrant the sky is. Anything that God put his hands on that cannot choose its own path, it is vibrant and brilliant, and it does its work and all of that. But we as humans, we have a choice. We're made in God's highest image, so we have a choice. We don't have to do what God says, right? So we can be dingy and dirty and trifling and shady and lying and stealing and all of this stuff that we know isn't God's will for us. We can choose to live our lives that way because, you know, we have a choice. He made us that way. He loved us enough. He's not going to take away our choices. But what ends up happening is when we are either subject to people who live a lifestyle like that and we're harmed as a result of being in their presence, or we choose to adopt those same different philosophies for different reasons. I'm not judging it, right? I'm not judging it. We all have our shadow side. I have my shadow side just like the next person. But when we don't enter into our shadows to understand how God would want to use those parts of us, like he's not telling us to go out here and lie and steal so we can eat. God has a path whereby we can keep our integrity and still eat, right? So, but you have to enter into your darker parts to understand, well, why, if you chose a certain path, why did I choose that path? Because what's happening is you're showing up in the world with that expression, with that energy, right? And at the end of the day, those of us who have invested in our healing journey, and those of us who are living life from a healed perspective, I'll say it like that, we're living life kind of reconnecting to the animation and that breath and that flow of life. We see you, right? We see you. And while that's something you may have to do while you were in survival mode, there is another level. You don't have to keep living your life in survival mode. When you desire to become that happy, rich, wealthy woman or wife, the one who's joyful and enjoying life in so many wonderful ways, you're living life from a perspective of thriving, right? Which is a different mindset than the one who is surviving. And so when we're around a person who has not done the work to clean up their soul, kind of coming back, that's the description I just gave, is a person who hasn't done the inner work to clean up their soul, then at the end of the day, one of the things that we know on the healing journey, and those of us who are invested, is that's your responsibility. If your soul doesn't want to do the work, there's nothing another human being can do. And of course, that's your choice, but I want you to always be mindful of what you're giving up. If you choose to not clean up your soul, right? And generally, if you ain't cleaning up your soul, I've learned after a while, you probably ain't cleaning up your house either, okay? So the internal often brings forth the external, right? In many cases. So that's what I wanted to come on with you guys today and talk about. I want you to make sure to always like this video. Have a visitor that's walking by. But I want you guys to make sure to like this video. Also share this video with someone that you know that may be ready to cleanse their soul. Like they need to, it's like, okay, I need to spring clean my soul. I need to take a break from all the foolishness. Take a break from the foolishness. And I need to dedicate my daily time to cleansing my soul and really shifting into the perspectives that I know that I need to. I gave you guys the journal prompt that I am journaling right now. And so you guys let me know how that turns out for you when you journal. You know, if I show up without any expectations of what others want from me, how would I show up in the world? How would you look? How would you talk? How would you laugh? How would you interact with the world? How would you interact with people? You know, it's so funny. Side note, and I am almost done with the video. But Side note, I was what was this? I think it was like Labor Day. I wanted some, my husband and I wanted some barbecue, and we were not like firing up the grill to do that. And so we went to one of the restaurants here in our city that is known for having really, really great barbecue. And so when I walked in, it was kind of late, and you know, people waiting on the barbecue was all kind of like everybody was in their own corner, but it was a really safe environment. And so, you know, I just began talking to some of the people who are around me, and it started this kind of like conversation where humans were interacting again. And I was like, you know, wow, when did we get to a place in the South where, you know, we don't even really have conversations with each other over simple things and surface things? And so it kind of let me know that our souls have been in this more isolated place. But when I showed up, I wanted to show up, and I wanted to interact with the individuals who were in the restaurant waiting on our barbecue, right? And we were just all sitting there in this awkward silence, and I was just like, why? And so it started a conversation that ended up becoming something beautiful. One of the ladies who was waiting that I didn't even see was a former fitness instructor of mine. And so I was like, oh my gosh, Lisa, I didn't even see you back there. And if I hadn't started the conversation, she and I wouldn't have reconnected. Her girls are doing amazing things in college now, and I would have like missed that opportunity to continue into community with people, right? So, you know, you never know what life you're missing out on when you're not cleaning your soul. And happy rich women and happy rich wives know this, and we invest in our healing journey in order to do that. So you guys, I love hearing from you. Email me, comment below on what stuck out to you the most, and hit like on this video so that other people who are like-minded and on their healing journey can find this. All right, y'all. Love y'all. Bye.